Let's discuss the anatomical position. The anatomical position refers to a standardized position of the human body that serves as a reference point for describing the locations and relationships of the body parts. So it describes the location and the relationship of the body parts. So this is a typical illustration of an anatomical position. The body stands upright. The head and the eyes are directed straight ahead. The upper limbs are at the sides and are also slightly away from the trunk. The palms face forward while the thumbs are pointing away from the body. They are pointing to the sides. The lower limbs are parallel and the feet are flat on the ground and are also facing forward. So this is how to know that someone is standing in an anatomical position. The next one is a supine position. The supine position, the body lies flat on the back. The face and the torso face upward. Torso is also known as the trunk, and it is the central part of the body to which the head and the limbs are attached. So whenever the body is lie flat on the back, that is a typical illustration of a supine position. The next one we are going to look into is the prone position. The prone position, the body lies flat on the stomach while the face and the torso face downward. All these positions put together tends to provide a consistent frame of reference for anatomical descriptions, which ensure clarity and precision in medical and scientific communications.
Next one we are going to be going into is the directional terms used in anatomy. The first one is anterior, we have posterior, superior and inferior, cranial, caudal, medial, lateral, superficial, deep, proximal, and distal. Then when you say something is anterior, you can also say it is what? Ventral. So when something is anterior, it is towards the front. For instance, you can say that the chest is anterior to the spine. What do I mean? The chest is located between the neck and the abdomen. So it is located in the front, while the spine or the vertebral column is located at the back. So therefore, in reference to an anatomical position, the chest is anterior to the spine.
Posterior is also referred to as dorsal or towards the back. For instance, you can say that the heart is posterior to the sternum. This simply means that the heart is positioned behind the sternum when considering the body's anatomical position. The next one is proximal. Proximal means closer to the point of attachment of a limb, or you can say closer to the origin of the body part. For instance, you can say that the elbow is proximal to the wrist, while distal is further from the origin of the body. That's the opposite of proximal. And you can say that the wrist is distal to the elbow. The next one is superior. Superior simply means towards or nearer to the top of the head. And it is different from cranial because cranial is specifically used when referring to skull, vertebral column, brains, the spinal cord. That's the head and the trunks only. And cranial means towards or nearer to the head, but it is specifically used. For instance, you can say that the shoulder is cranial to the umbilicus, or you can say that the skull is cranial to the neck, while you can also say that the neck is caudal to the skull. Then inferior is the opposite of superior, which simply means towards or nearer to the soles of the feet. For instance, the knee is inferior to the hip, while the hip is superior to the knee, which simply means that the superior and cranial have the same definition but are used in different terms. Same thing goes for inferior and caudal. The next one is the medial and the lateral. Medial means towards the midline. For instance, the nose is medial to the eyes, while lateral means away from the midline of the body. For instance, the arms are lateral to the chest. Superficial means closer to the surface of the body, while deep means away from the surface of the body. The skin is superficial to the ribs, and the ribs are superficial to the lungs. The lungs are deep to the ribs, and the ribs are also deep to the skin. So you can use that to explain superficial and deep.